Hi, everybody. Welcome in. It is time for Three Guys Before the Game, episode number 190. On this program, we go overseas and check in with our very special friend of Three Guys Before the Game, Nathan Adrian, who's playing professionally in France. Plus, your phone calls and your texts. Three Guys Before the Game with Hoppy Kerchevqal and the Senator Brad Howe, brought to you by Comax Business Systems, your full-service Konica Minolta dealer. Go to Comax Business Systems at comaxwv.com. And by Bordeaux Camping Center, the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. You can visit them at BurdetteCamping.com. They're new to our show, and they went in. I mean, they just totally dove in. They didn't dip their toe in the water. They just, right from the high board, they dumped in, and they said, hey, man, we're going to be part of your show. We're going long haul. This is not a one-night stand. This is not a one-show stand. They're in for the long haul, so they said we're going to do a three-guys special. And right now, at Bordeaux Camping Center, located in Winfield, they've got the special 177BH Wildwood camper for sale for just $10,900. That's for $10,900, a 177BH Wildwood camper. Go to BurdetteCamping.com. Check it out for yourself. Stop by Bordeaux Camping Center in Winfield.
That's elite level co-branding, by the way.
Excuse me?
In the marketing business, you would refer to that as co-branding.
Explain that.
By Bordeaux Camping Center, co-branding. They're not just an advertiser on the show. They're partnering and taking the Bordeaux Camping brand and partnering it with the very popular Three Guys brand. As you know, threeguyspodcast.com. If you'd like to co-brand yourself with the show, we welcome that.
Well, they've become part of the family.
Sure.
What they've done. They're in.
By the way, real quick before we get started, we'll also include a tweet or two in there since you tried to ignore the tweeters again at the start of the show. But don't worry, I got you. We'll put a tweet in there.
Why does he hate tweeters?
I know, he just ignores them. Every show ignores them.
No, see, it's not true. I don't hate I don't hate tweeters. I don't hate Twitter. I have taken over the phone calls and the texts. I've assigned you. I've deputized you as the lead tweet man on this program. Several shows ago when I started forgetting about Twitter.
We have a great soundtrack for today's show.
Yeah, we do. Wait till you
great soundtrack.
Wait till you hear the sounds when we go over and talk with Nathan in just a second. This is really good stuff when we go overseas. We record in the noontime hour on Thursday, the 19th of March, 2020, in case you're listening to this 5 years from now. And this is exactly when the NCAA basketball tournament would have tipped off. The ball is up.
The ball is tipped.
The ball is tipped.
And there you are.
And there you are.
You're running for your life.
You're running for your life.
You're a shooting star.
You're a shooting star. So today when I
could keep going.
Today when I was
go ahead. I know
I've identified that as my favorite all-time song.
You are struggling mightily because this would be your day.
Oh, I'm beside myself.
You know what I did this morning
This is the day.
Yeah. When I was walking this morning, Charles Barkley, I listened to 5 off of YouTube, 5 shining moments from past tournaments.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what
5 shining moments.
I'll do that later. You know, I've mentioned how much I loved that song and that video the other day. I don't think I told this story. During the Final Four run of 2010, I would listen to that on a loop. So it was half superstition, half I loved it. When we'd load the team bus to drive to the arena, beginning with game 1 of that run, I would listen to One Shining Moment on a continuous loop, Kerchevqal, until we arrived at the arena and got out of the bus to walk in. Did it every single game all the way up until West Virginia was out of the tournament. That was my own little obsessive.
That makes you happy.
Superstitious.
Not bothering anybody else. That's fine.
Did our special guest today, did he make it on any of the shining moments?
We have to ask that. That's a great question.
Let's go to Bordeaux, France. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the program former Mountaineer, now professional basketball player in Bordeaux, France, Nathan Adrian. Adrian, who joins us via Skype. Good day to you, sir.
How you doing, Tony? Good day to you.
So we told people earlier, we just want you to not say anything for a second. Before we brought you up here, we were hearing those birds in the background. They still out there? They take a break?
I think they're gone. I don't see them anymore.
Your motor
Coming in a bus.
Oh, there's buses.
Yeah. I tell you what.
There they are. It's like the Masters soundtrack. Oh, not that.
Where's your apartment? By the interstate?
This guy, where is
He's France. He's in an urban metropolitan area, Kerchevqal. There's a lot of action.
All right, let's jump in. Nathan, obviously, let's get right down to the nitty-gritty of this. Obviously, the coronavirus has literally changed everyone in the world. Please give us an update as to what it has done to you, what it has done to the league that you're playing in France. What's your situation right now?
Yeah, so I've been in the house for 6 days now, and France is on a mandatory quarantine for self-containment, whatever. We're not allowed out of the house for another 14 days minimum. And our season's suspended until at least April 3rd, but there's really no chance that it continues in. So there's no telling how long it'll be postponed or canceled. So I'm just sitting around and waiting, just like most of the leagues over here at this point.
So, in essence, you have been told to stay within your apartment for 3 weeks, if I'm doing the math right, correct?
Yeah, that's pretty much right.
Okay, so how do you function? How have you been functioning? If you have to stay, what do you do for food?
Well, we are allowed to go out to the grocery store. There's a little piece of paper we got to fill out to carry with us. So if any cops stop you, because they're fining people up to, I think it's like 190 euros if you're out without a permission slip, basically, to go either to the grocery store, the pharmacy, the doctor, or to and from essential work.
So it has to be an amazing time. So here you are over there and overseas for the very first time, and we've talked in the past with you about what kind of a transition that was to make that decision to go over into a place in which you had no prior knowledge, no relationships, no friends whatsoever. Not only are you over there living, everything was regular, so to speak. You got used to that, and now you're locked down.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing I got used to being alone, because I'm going to be alone for a while now.
What about, Nate? We've seen runs here on toilet paper and people acting like complete animals, quite frankly, and trying to get supplies. What's the tenor of the public there? Is it panic? Is it orderly? How are the supplies right now?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say it's panicked. I mean, most things are sold out just because we're on quarantine now. But before that, stores were not sold out like they are at home. People here are very lax about it, to be honest. You don't see everybody running out and lining up to try and go to the grocery store. So that's a good thing. I don't really understand that anyway. I went to the store today and there was 4 things of chicken left. I got one. I came home and I'll go tomorrow and do the same thing. It's not that big of a deal.
You know, the headlines from France that you've alluded to, I'm reading from a French news agency, France 24. French health officials reported 89 new deaths from coronavirus Wednesday, taking the total to 264. That's an increase of almost 51%. As the country was in the second day of lockdown. So today, when we're talking to Nate, that would be the third day. At a press briefing last night, French health agency officials added the number of coronavirus cases had risen to over 9,000, up from 7,700 on Tuesday. So it's just beginning. You know, the upward trend is continuing in France.
Yeah. Nathan, when you look at the situation that you're in right now, specific to your region, you're in the Bordeaux region. What's the situation in Bordeaux? Are you getting confirmed cases that you know of the coronavirus? Is it there? Is it prevalent right where you are?
There are some. I think there was 35 new ones yesterday, if I read what I saw right. I mean, everything's in French, so I'm kind of trying to translate and keep up with things, but it's kind of hard to. I don't think we are the exactly hot zone of France, but we are right close to Spain, who is seeing huge numbers flaring up now. I mean, we're kind of surrounded by everybody who's getting hard now. Italy is obviously where they are. Spain's basically catching up with Italy. Germany's right behind both of them, and we're in the middle of all that. So they're only testing, I don't think they only have 2,000 tests to use per day. So the number of confirmed cases of 1,400 or 1,500 a day are basically coming out of those 2,000. So you really have no idea what is actually out there.
Nate, what about travel restrictions? You couldn't leave even if you wanted to, or are you free to go if you decided, all right, enough, I'm out?
No, I can leave. They haven't said that Americans can't leave. If Americans want to go home, we're allowed to go home. We just have to go through special processes in all the airports. So if I decide I want to leave at any point, then I will be able to get home as of right now.
What's your mindset right now, Nate, in regard to that? Do you sit this out? As you said, you still have a couple more weeks of mandatory staying at home. What's your thought process?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to sit it out. I know a lot of people aren't. A lot of teams are allowing their players to go home, but I think that's because they're kind of coming to the realization that this season can't really be finished. I mean, even if in a month or a month and a half they want to try to do a condensed schedule, I don't think you can physically ask players to sit inside for a month and a half and then come out and play 2 or 3 games a week and expect them to be in game shape. I don't think that's possible. I think people will get hurt. I think that's bad for players, and I hope that people realize that.
Yeah. Your season was supposed to end potentially in May, correct? If everything would have played regularly?
Yeah, mid-May. So my contract goes till June 20th, though. So if they want to squeeze it in, they have till mid-June to do it.
Are you still getting paid?
So I'm currently on what's called partial unemployment, so I'm getting paid by the government now.
Now check that out. Now here's a kid from the Grafton Road. Little did he know, Hoppy. Little did he know.
Unemployment?
He's getting French unemployment. Kid from Grafton Road, out near Gladesville somewhere. I don't know where this. What a world, man! Isn't that amazing?
Nathan Adrian, truly a global citizen now at this point.
I've worked on it now.
You know. So let me ask you this: did you already apply for that? How do you go get French aid? How do you go get French unemployment?
I'm not exactly. The team does it. So they basically put all of us on unemployment. So I'm not exactly sure how it all works. I just know that I'm supposed to get a check at the beginning of April. So
yeah. On a more serious note, we kidded with you when you did go over there because you were a homebody, and for a lot of people, when you left to go over, went like, "Whoosh, I don't know how long he'll be able to last over there because he just loves being in West Virginia, loves being at home." And as I said earlier on, I mean, this is a life changer for you, dude. I mean, I think after you go through this, however this thing winds up, I mean, forever, this becomes your base of, I went through that. I can overseas. I went through this, a pandemic.
He can go anywhere, do anything.
Go anywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything pretty much seems easy to you at this point. But at the same time, I kind of look at it as I have nothing to really come home to. If I do come home, I can't really go to my parents' house. I can't go and be around my dad, so it's not like I'm going to go there. So if I come home, I got to find somewhere where no one is to stay for a few days, for a few weeks. Yeah. So I'll probably have to go down to my camp, which I'm not going to complain about if I do come home. So.
And if I'm not, and you say you can't get around your dad because your dad obviously is a heart transplant recipient, and so he has an immune system which is compromised, and so that's why you can't do that. Did I hear correctly that you had a bunch of guys from Morgantown come over and visit you not all that long ago?
So I had 5 of them, 6 of them come over here, and they got home March 10th. So they got home 3 days before the travel ban, and they've all been locked down in their own houses since they've got home. They haven't been allowed to work. They haven't been allowed to do anything.
Wow. Well, listen, man, we appreciate you joining us, and obviously we're going to keep you in mind, and hopefully everything goes well. We may check back in with you. By the way, you were having a heck of a season. You were playing well, weren't you, man?
Yeah, not too shabby. Had a pretty good last game, so if that is the game I go out on, I can't complain about it.
Okay, so what was the game?
22, 15, and 5 assists.
Ooh, those are good numbers.
Double.
That was nice.
Before we do let you go, as I said at the start, today started the NCAA tournament if it had happened. That will also be a memory that you will never forget. What are your recollections? What are your thoughts when you think about the NCAA tournament as far as your involvement at WVU?
That's kind of my big problem with the seniors going out the way they do. My only real memories come from my senior year. That's really what sticks out to you the most because that's when you contribute the most. That's when the team is yours. That's when it's your opportunity to do it. And that's why I feel bad for them is because they just lose their senior year. They lose those main memories that I have. So I do feel bad for them, and I don't know what's going to come of it. I mean, I don't think that they're going to be able to have a whole nother year.
No, they're not.
I don't think that's in the realm of possibilities. So just a shame for them.
Yeah, it really is. And you, not only did you play in your senior, you were hurt. I would think that would always going to stay with you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was my last few games, so I was playing through anything, so made the most of it, and turned out how it was.
Went double-double against Bucknell in that first-round game. And did you see, Nate, that clip that was going around Twitter here earlier this week of the Notre Dame game? I thought that was really a perfect example. It kind of encapsulated your career wonderfully well. It was against Notre Dame in the tournament. You get a steal, dive on the floor for a loose ball, flip it back to, I think it was Tariq, who gave a no-look pass to Issa coming down the lane to hammer the dunk with you laying on the floor, making the pass from your back. Did you see that going around? Because I thought that was a perfect Nathan Adrian moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my best memories from the tournament. That was a great play, and that was kind of the turning point in the game where we knew that we kind of had control of it. So that was definitely one of my memories.
That was a great win, man. That was a
fun game.
That was a good win. That was a great one. All right, brother. We appreciate your time. Stay safe, and we'll be checking in with you.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Nate.
There he is. Nathan Adrian from Bordeaux, France. I did not realize that he was in the midst of a 3-week self-containment.
Yeah.
And so he's only in, what do you say, day 6?
Yeah, that's recent. That was just something that came out earlier this week. So, again, I mean, you talk about, that's true quarantine and containment. I mean, as he's mentioned, he's walking around there. The only people he knows are the guys on his team. He's not practicing. He's not playing with them, and he's not necessarily even communicating with them.
And the country is under lockdown. The country's under lockdown. As he said, he made very good points there. I mean, you're right next to Spain. Spain has serious problems. Italy's next door. So the geography is very threatening. I mean, we're in the U.S., I mean, we're struggling with it too, but still we have been isolated, and it was late getting here. But Europe is still Europe is peaking right now.
You follow this, obviously, second by second. Where does it go here in regard to, do you think we
West
get to
Virginia
that,
or the U.S.?
Do you think we get to that point?
I don't know. I mean, I just defer to the health officials, and what they keep saying is, I mean, we got a late start. I think there's consensus on the following points. One is that we got a late start in this country, later than we should have. But we've picked up steam considerably just in the last 2 weeks of dealing with it. And what health officials are telling me in West Virginia is, if we keep doing the things that we are doing, like the social distance, the hygiene issues, closing down institutions, businesses like the restaurants and bars closing except for takeout services, we continue to do those things, then we have a chance to, as they say, flatten the curve so that people are going to get infected, but it won't be this big rush that will overload the health system. And the testing is increasing geometrically now because of these drive-through testing locations that have been set up by WVU and other locations. WVU tested 144 yesterday. So that is, and as there's more testing, there's going to be more positive cases.
Yeah, so that will serve to ramp up. The numbers are going to probably escalate fairly quickly here as the testing is increased. So that's an inevitable outcome here.
But I think that I don't want to. I think we're at a critical moment in West Virginia in terms of how we respond. And if we act like responsible West Virginians, do the things we're asked to do, I think we got a reasonable chance of minimizing the impact. If we act like some of the people who are on spring break, then we'll be in trouble like everybody else.
Yeah. How about the spring break video yesterday, huh?
It's just
you can never underestimate stupid, can you? You can never.
Nor can you fix it.
No, you can't.
One kid said, and look, I was 20 once and did stupid things, but he says, well, I don't care if I get the virus. Okay, maybe you don't, but the infection rate of this is greater than the flu is, than the regular flu is. So you'll infect other people, and then they infect other people. So that's the fear. You want to get sick? Okay, get sick, but fine. But you're gonna make other people sick. That's the real threat.
Yeah. All right, we're going to jump into phone calls, Twitter, and texts, and we do appreciate all of those. I also have a crowdsourcing.
And tweets.
We're going to do that first. We're going to go. As soon as we start, we're going to do tweets first. I already had that in mind. Well, you just didn't push me into that. I had it in mind.
See, classic.
No, he's not.
Told me I was in charge of Twitter, but then tried to take credit for getting Twitter in.
Yeah, exactly.
That's part. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
I need some help.
What's wrong?
Well, we're working on a project.
What project?
Pikewood Creative.
Okay.
We're working on a project. Did you see the Fieldhouse video yet? You've been haven't you? You've been so doggone busy.
I had Dan Lohman on, and I got.
Oh, wait a second. Excuse me. You interviewed the producer of the piece, but you haven't watched the piece. Is that right, Larry King? Is that right? Is that right, Larry? Is that right, Larry?
I never do research ahead of time. I
interviewed Lohman, but I haven't watched the movie.
I haven't
yet.
watched it.
Hello, Dan Lohman. Hello.
You need to watch it, dude. 17 minutes.
I know.
Instead of going home at night and watching fart videos on YouTube, you might be able to watch the video. What are you doing over there, Senator? I mean, why is this? What? Some kind of a clown show over here? What are we doing?
You're right. I have no defense. And I do want to watch it because of all the wonderful stories. Yes, I interviewed him prior to watching the video. I'm guilty.
Guys won multiple Emmy Awards. You might want to watch the piece.
I know. You're right. You're right.
You probably had involvement at the field house, right? You probably introduced acts in the past at the field house. Huh?
I got a story I can't tell at the field house.
Well, fortunately, it's all taken down now, so the statute of limitations is over. So you had a situation, did you, at the field house?
No, it's.
Will it help you if you let it go?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
You weren't over there running game at any point?
I'll tell you this about the field house. I was in school here from 1974 to 1977. And at that time, and I came.
I wanted to count. I thought you went to Shepherd for a year.
I went to Shepherd for a year.
So how many years were you at
73
WV?
to 74, then 74 to 77.
So it was his redshirt year at Shepherd.
You redshirted.
Redshirt at Shepherd.
Did it take you 5 years? Did it take you 5 years?
Sat out a year.
You did.
No, I didn't sat out a year.
There's nothing wrong. 5 to get 4. That's how it works. 5 to get 4.
But when I got here, I mean, realize where I grew up that WVU basketball, I grew up in the Eastern Panhandle, and just wasn't a thing. And I was after the Jerry West. I mean, Jerry West was playing for the Lakers, so we followed it there. But I was a little bit after that.
More of a Maryland guy.
Yeah, exactly. ACC guy, exactly. So I had classes at the old field house, which Stansbury Hall,
right?
But I didn't really know the significance of it. And they did it, they had it all walled up with bad drywall, and it was just bad classrooms. And I didn't know.
Yeah.
I did not understand what it was about, not until much later.
Sure.
So, and you played intramural basketball in there and things like that. And where the fans would stand, they had all that walled off.
All right.
So I had these classes in this historic building and did not get what was going on. And I that's unfortunate.
Same thing with me. I could kick myself 100 times in the butt because I never went into Old Mountaineer Field. I drove by. It was still up when I got here.
Wow, yeah.
It was still up when I got here, and I would just drive by it through Sunnyside. I never went down in. I'd look in there, but I never went down in.
See, I do the same with Stansbury. I did not go in there. Had no need to go in there. I did not go.
Yeah.
Mistake.
Anyway, so watch the video.
Well, I will.
So Pico Creative is working on another project right now. And the topic is this. The phrase, "It's a great day to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be."
Whose phrase is that, Brad?
I don't know where it came from. By the way.
Some old announcer.
By the way, and this just happened.
It's a great day to be a Mountaineer. Wherever you may be.
Coincidentally, the first time it was ever used on a broadcast is 15 years ago today. It was the Wake Forest game.
How long had you been waiting to use that?
I don't remember. I didn't have it pre-planned.
But no, you had thought about the phrase.
We thought about the phrase, but I never said, I'm going to use this someday. It just came out. It was a surge. It was like.
That was a good spot to use it.
Anyway.
That was a good spot. So 15 years ago today, as we record this,
yes,
is when that game against Wake Forest took place. Some call it one of the greatest college basketball games of all time.
Yes, it is, and obviously one of the greatest ever in West Virginia. And Mike Gansey had 29, 5 Mountaineers finished in double figures. He had 19 in overtime, and he was absolutely fantastic. So here's the deal. Here's what I need the help from. So we're putting some content together on that. It's a great day to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be. If you would. If that phrase means something to you, this is what I'm asking. Could you call our special 3 Guys number and leave either a voicemail or if you want to send us a text? Here's the 2 parts of it. When was the first time you remember hearing it? And what does it mean to you? When's the first time you remember hearing it? And what does it mean to you? And you can send that to 304-404. What's the number? 3. I always wait for my man Daniel Woods is in there. He always follows me. 304-404-4083. I should remember that. 304-404-4083. If I've heard some stories. I've heard people overseas that were listening to games and it makes them cry. I've heard people, I was listening to this and I was by myself and wherever I was. 304-404-4083. If you could just give us your take on what it means to you, where do you remember hearing it? We'd love to hear from you, and we might follow up
Tony,
as we work on this
let me tell you the
project.
beauty of that is that you use it judiciously. That is the best part of it. I can't remember the first time I heard it, but I know that every time I have heard it, it has been a special event. And you hold back on that, which I like. You don't, you beat, who?
You're going to take a shot and disrespect somebody here. Go ahead.
Mount St. Mary's?
You beat Kansas in football.
No,
okay.
you don't
You're
use
not
it.
gonna use it.
Don't use it then.
But when you have
good shot at Kansas, sir.
It's only used at a special moment, which I think is the beauty of your catchphrase, and that's what I like about it.
Thank you. Tweet boy.
Yes.
So go ahead, hit me.
So here's one. This is interesting. This is kind of on a serious note here from Kay. Says, can you push out more content for a lonely lady who got off a cruise and found out a week later someone on the ship tested positive for COVID-19? Gonna need you guys over the next 2 weeks. Go Mountaineers.
I'm available. I can do more. I tell you what, if you want to call, tell you what, DM me your number. I'll call you up. We'll talk Mountaineers. I'll give you 20 minutes.
That's
we'll talk.
There you go.
We'll talk Mountaineers for 20 minutes.
Okay,
his number.
This will be more up your line.
Okay.
This will be right in your line. Grant says, and I'm not editorializing, I'm just reading as they come in. Guys, which I take exception with, but I'll come back to that. Guys, stop ignoring the Twitterverse. Here y'all go. Over under 2.5 months of social distancing. I take exception because it should say Tony. Stop ignoring the Twitterverse. But go. Grant, that's from Grant. Over under 2.5 months.
Social distancing, over under.
Yes.
Nationwide or West Virginia.
Take your pick. Say nationwide.
I'm going to go over.
Oh, do you really?
Oh, geez, really?
I'm going to go because here's the thing. When it's if you flatten the best case scenario is, like I said, you flatten the curve. Well, there is no natural immunity unless 60% of the population gets sick and gets over it. Then you have herd immunity. So,
meaning because once you've had it, you're not getting it again.
You're not going to get it again. Okay, so how long would that take? There is going to be months before a vaccine is ready, so it has to work its way through. And they're talking about a year and a half for the virus to work its way through. So, yeah, I think social distancing is going to be around for a while.
Wow, 2.5 months.
Over.
So we're March, April, May, June, July, August would be 5 months. In all seriousness, and this is not to throw fear in anything, but it's going to be close to football season, right? By the time things normalize, if everything goes great, right?
Well, think about this: is the WVU has announced, as Marshall has and Shepherd has, as we're speaking here, that now the rest of the semester is online classes, and also that commencement is they're not sure yet. Marshall's already postponed commencements, and that's May.
So that's in essence 2 months from now, a little bit less.
So that's May.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think you can say now because everybody, as someone said the other day, they're building the plane as they fly it. So they are, every institution, every individual, healthcare facilities are inventing this as they go along. There's no way to know. There really is no way to know. And that uncertainty creates a lot of anxiety. But I do think that as individuals and as institutions, we are figuring things out and adjusting, as we've talked about before, to this new normal, which we're not there yet, but we're trying to head toward a new normal.
Okay, we'll transition here we'll get off the social issues of the day. We'll go to an actual basketball question. Now, part of this looks like it's irrelevant at this point, but I'll still read it and we'll answer this. This is from Bill. Bill says, sent a comment in the show about the potential for our basketball team if the 3 seniors were granted an extra year of eligibility, and the immediate impact of the players involved, and how Napper leaving will affect this team. Brandon Napper entering the transfer portal here within the last week. So the first part of that, it appears that the NCAA is not going to grant an extra year to winter sports athletes. Right. Still certainly very much on the table for spring sports athletes, but probably does not happen for winter athletes, including basketball, as was originally discussed.
Correct. And was there another piece to that as
well? Well, the Napper piece of that. How does the Napper entering the transfer portal affect the roster as it sits today? Again, we don't know of any other departures. History would tell you Brandon Napper won't be the only person leaving. Just if you go back 20 years and just look at sheer numbers, there are probably others to come. But Brandon Napper, guard, backcourt, leaving the roster.
I think it was a great move for Brandon. I think Brandon needed to go somewhere else. I think for a bunch of different reasons. I think for him to get more playing time and to play the game he wants to play, I don't think there were going to be a ton of minutes for him down the road based on what the roster looks like right now. So I think it's a really good move. Sometimes that happens, right? I mean, a lot of people transfer out. Bob Huggins transferred out. He looked at the tea leaves at Ohio University after his freshman year, and he went like, this ain't going to work, and he came to West Virginia. It happens. I wish him the absolute best, but I don't think he was going to get as many minutes as he wanted in the future, would be my thought.
I echo that. Nothing more to add, so move on to
Are we done with Twitter?
That's Twitter.
Well, hey, as you know, Twitter, #1 on this program. It's our first thought each and every show.
Well, your credibility is on the line. I mean, you say these things. I mean, you're a trusted voice, and you say these things.
Hoppy, I think my record shows as a Twitter member since 2009, 11 years, that I am a strong advocate of Twitter.
Which is why the ignoring of the medium is so shocking, quite frankly. You are you're a big power user on Twitter, and yet on the show.
Love Twitter.
But anyway, thank you to those of you that tweeted us, and we're certainly sending Kay our thoughts to make sure she's okay over the coming weeks.
If ever there was a time, as more and more people are working from their homes, to have a great infrastructure within your IT and your managed voice, it is absolutely right now. That means Comax Business Systems, which is an elite dealer in the state of West Virginia, as voted on by ENX Magazine, can take your IT. Do you have a business and now your folks are working at home? There's ways to get in. There's the wrong way to do it. There's the right way to do it. And Comax Business Systems offers 24/7 remote monitoring, giving you the peace of mind when it comes to your managed IT services and your managed voice services. They'll do it for you. Guess what? They can remote in and do an inventory. Take a look and visit them at comaxwv.com, comaxwv.com. Why worry when you can have them watching your back 24/7? Ready for some phone calls?
Sure.
The calls I thought were really interesting today. So let's jump on in. Got a guy. This is a guy that I said in the past I would like to spend some time with him and just chat with him because he seems like an interesting character. This is Long Bob. Ready? Long Bob has a word for the three of us. Three guys.
Three guys. This is Long Bob from Pennsylvania. Been away for a little bit. When the Mountaineers took that slide, I went into the cave. I felt so bad for that team. But listen to your recent podcast. You guys, please yuck it up. Bust on each other. I need a little diversion from the coronavirus. Enjoy everything you do. Have a great one. Again, Long Bob, signing off.
So there you go.
We're glad he's back, first of all.
I think you coined the term yuck it up. I think he took that from you. Have you ever heard yuck it up before? I think you're the guy that uses yuck it up.
Yeah, that's
he wants to yuck it up.
Yeah.
He wants us to yuck
it. Look, if that's what the public wants, we can argue. Believe me. We can go. We just name a topic.
We're kind of just going on eggshells a little bit as this thing continues to develop. Now,
but I will say this. The best yucks come just organically. You know, as you can tell if you listen to the show, there's not a lot of pre-planning. There's not a lot of pre-production going on, as we often do that on the air.
Now, why do you say that?
Well, because I'm just being honest with the listeners.
I call you the morning of a show and say, okay, what do we got?
Right. And then you totally forget what we talked about and just go off and do whatever you want to do anyway.
Me. I'm not on
You're
the
on the air. You're on the air when we're doing it.
Yeah.
I talked to him.
It happens at 11:55 a.m. We can take your last segment.
Hey, speaking of yucking it up, Daniel, our producer or director, can you take a tight shot of Brad? Okay, this is how well I can produce this show. Ready? I can make him laugh in less than 3 words.
I don't think you can. I think
I'm not
you've
gonna laugh.
I think you've burned that. I don't think you can do that.
Watch me, Brad. You ready? Ready? Irv Cross.
Why do you say I was thinking
right here? I'm on the air.
I was thinking about that just the other day.
That was a great live sports moment, wasn't it? Poor Irv Cross doing a stand-up.
All right.
Or when Don Creaky got hit by the basketball.
You just jinxed me, though. The next time I have to do sideline somewhere, I'm going to have my own Irv Cross moment.
For those that don't know, Brent Musburger during the Super Bowl preview sends it down on the field to sideline reporter Irv Cross, who was one of the first guys ever allowed on the sideline.
Yeah.
and their security guy didn't realize who he was or that he was on the air, and he tried to run him off the field while he was on the air.
And Irv objected.
Irv objected.
While he was on the air.
Yeah, exactly.
Great moment in live sports.
One of the great things about this program is that we have people who try to help us along and develop as we grow this show. One of those guys is Rhyming Ryan. So listen in if you're a Three Guys advocate.
Hey guys, it's Rhyming Ryan. I'm just calling in because Tony and Brad and Hoppy have been asking about, things that we could do in this time to kind of change it up a little bit, maybe change some of the content. So knowing that a lot of people would going to be kind of self-quarantined or working from home or going to be having a lot more social distancing or they're going to have more time than home, I thought that I would create a subreddit. And so I have another podcast that I follow around college football season that has a subreddit dedicated to it for the fans. And they go on there and they post the episodes and they talk about things they talked about in the show, and they have some other cool stuff that they do on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And so I went ahead and started that up, and hopefully people can go over there and follow the subreddit and we can get some more discussions going. So it's reddit.com/r/3 guys. So reddit.com/r/3 guys. People go and check it out. So my rhyme today is, with coronavirus causing social distancing, I made a subreddit for all of those listening. I hope it brings some community spirit. You can't catch corona from it, so don't fear it. Thanks, guys. Have a great time.
Thank you. So
REDDIT, Reddit.
Oh, Reddit. Okay.
Yeah, so Rhymin' Ryan created a subreddit on Three Guys Before the Game.
R.
Yeah. So yeah.
Slash.
3 guys.
Number 3 guys. Yeah, it'll come up. You'll get it. So if you want to go join us on subreddit, you can do that.
So what's this? What is this?
Oh, now here we go.
What happens here?
Just here we go. We're gonna have to explain Reddit to them. It's gonna be
almost like a message board type thing.
Is that what it is?
Go on, people can add comments to it. It's a thread. You can read it.
Can you put a stamp on it and mail it?
Yes, you can. What do you say we go out? Let's go out to California.
Can I change the channel?
Let's go to California.
How many channels
Hey guys, this is Zach coming in from California again. Trying to fill out some time for the show, thought experiment. If you had to put together an ideal non-conference schedule for our basketball team for next year, what teams would be on that non-con? And maybe if you're trying to fill out more time, what order would we play them in? Thanks. Love the show.
Yeah, good question.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking on that. Thanks for your call. Thanks for the question. The question is
it's like a fantasy or realistic?
No, realistically, what would you do for a non-conference schedule? By the way, it's done already for next year. I think this. As the legendary Mickey Faferi used to say, I have covered the Mountaineers for over 70 years as boy and man. So I will put that in there. In all of my years of following WVU, which is now 35, that was my 35th season of Mountaineer basketball, I don't think the non-conference schedule was ever better than this past season's team.
Dead on.
Perfect schedule. Perfect schedule. It was like a great investor of putting some great equities in the account that became fixed. They became fixed income. So you play those non-conference teams, they gave you great value, and they were never going to devaluate because they all went on and had really valuable seasons. 20 wins, as I said before. 6 of the first 7 teams West Virginia played this year went to win 20 or more games.
I don't see the schedule. I'm looking for it.
You never went.
You all right?
Can we get you a roll of paper towels to clear your throat?
You never went really bad. That's one of the best parts about last year, Tony. The high end was good. There were a lot of very good teams, as you outlined, with the 20 wins. But I think even more to that, there were no really bad teams in there. So you didn't have any wins that you just went, tuck that away because it was over the number 312 team in the country. So I thought they did a great job of bunching all of those games together. And then the cherry on top was the number 2 at the time, Ohio State Buckeyes, that you get a win over that really put the exclamation point on that non-conference.
Yeah. Just to kind of familiarize you really super quick, Akron, Northern Colorado, Boston University, Northern Iowa, Wichita State, Rhode Island. Those were 6 of the first 7 teams West Virginia played. They all won 20 or more games. The only team that didn't was the game against Pitt at Pitt, which was game 2. And then Austin Peay won 20 or more. Nicholls State won 20 or more. Youngstown State won 18. Ohio State, obviously, as Brad said, that was your last non-conference game before the Missouri SEC Challenge game, and they were obviously number 2. in the country. So to answer your question in a kind of a generic way, I'm not going to list your opponents. Do what Josh Eilert at WVU Basketball did, and that is identify the teams that are going to win those mid-major leagues and go get them. That's what their premise is. I think I saw something today. I didn't see it confirmed. I think West Virginia's going to play Robert Morris. Right, Robert Morris had another good season last year, or this past March.
That's a good game.
That's a good game. It's close. You play them.
You should win.
And they'll give you value.
The other thing that next year we'll keep an eye on will be this past year it turned out well with Northern Iowa and Wichita State in the Cancun tournament. Next year that tournament field is outstanding. The best tournament field there is playing in that dark ballroom. So I've already got anxiety about hitting the ceiling on the jump shot, but that's for conversation as we get into the fall. It's a great field, though.
The lighting's fine in that.
It's dark.
We go from California. Did I do Kansas City yet?
Hello. No.
Didn't do Kansas City.
Hello!
Hey, three guys. This is Ben in Kansas City. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back, Nate. Glad to have you on the show. Just quick thoughts around our 3 incoming recruits for basketball. I mean, they look like they have some really good offers around them. And I know we got a 4-star guy in Cottrell, and they're long. And just thoughts around how they're going to add to the depth of the team for next year. Thanks. Love the show. See ya.
Thank you. We appreciate the call. Sorry we weren't able to stay in Kansas City longer. To evaluate WVU's incoming recruits, I think the best way to do it is this. I'm really getting into this math stuff now, right? What's history say happens? Don't you think that's the best way to do it?
Yes.
So while you could sit here and get like too excited, overexcited about what a particular player could bring, right? Think realistically where the numbers are. So if you want to do that, I say you jump into this season's team and you take a look at the final statistics and you do this. Freshman Oscar Tshiebwe had one of the great freshman seasons in school history.
If not the.
He went 11-9. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
One of the great freshman seasons, he went 11-9. Deuce McBride. He went 10 points, 2 rebounds. He had 56 assists, 41 turnovers, 35 steals to put him second on the team. That also is one of the best freshman seasons in school history. After that, Sean McNeil. Here's a kid that led his grouping in junior college in scoring. A year ago, he averaged 6 points and led the team with 29 three-pointers. Taz Sherman also led his particular division of junior college in scoring a year ago. He finished with 5 points and 28 three-pointers.
Which are still historically good seasons and would show you that those guys have a good chance of turning into really productive players based on the numbers that you've done before.
So, with all of that being said then, what's a realistic expectation? The realistic expectation, if things go really, really well, is that a player will average between 5 and 9 points, right?
Yes.
That would be really super good. 5 to 9 points. And rebounding-wise, 4 to 6 rebounds would be super. I think that's what you say.
And I think potentially adding to that, and this is not to temper expectations, but to go back-to-back seasons with multiple guys having the best first-year seasons you've ever seen would be asking a lot. And you just outlined it. 2 of those happened this season with Deuce and Oscar. To ask then another 1 or 2 first-year guys to bust out with years like that, the probability of that is fairly low.
Tony, how did they get Cottrell? I know he was at Huntington Prep. How did they get him when he was but he was a very highly recruited guy? What was the connection there?
There's a relationship there. His dad is Brian Lewin, and Brian played here in 1998. So that was the pre-existing notification that, hey, there's a really, really good player who's developing here. So he went.
And Isaiah's mother's West Virginia native,
native.
Yeah.
She's from West Virginia. But he was at Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas, which is one of the top high school programs in the country. In fact, Senator and I saw him a year ago play. And then this year, after committing, he came here and played at Huntington Prep to play against a higher level of competition. Not that he was playing bad teams at Bishop Gorman, but obviously that also. So there's a couple of wild cards in this class that you've got an Isaiah Cottrell who played high level of competition throughout his high school career.
Right.
And
is a top, 100, 150 kid.
Yeah.
So the talent's there.
And Jalen Bridges also had a very rare situation in that he played against these guys and redshirted as one of the top 100 players in the country. So you've got a couple of unique situations where those guys may be a little bit more developed. Well, Bridges definitely is more developed than other true freshmen that would be coming in.
And Bridges is a fascinating case study, I think, because you said that well. Hoppy, you don't normally get a guy of that acclaim and that talent that sits for a year before playing. Think of the value that he takes out of there. Never mind the getting stronger, never mind the nutrition, just the atmosphere around the program and what it takes day in, day out, as I often say, on a Tuesday in January, what it takes to be at your best in this program at this level. That kid now isn't walking in deer in the headlights. He's like, all right, whatever. I mean, right? Next January 17th for him will not be a shock. Most first-year guys, JUCOs included, January 17th on a Tuesday morning, it's like, what's happening now? Right? That kid will not have that. I'm fascinated to see what kind of response that gives him.
From a conditioning perspective, he's been in that weight room since the fall. So he's already got a full season in of eating and lifting, and so he's that much farther ahead. I think, again, as I said many times, that's one of the all-time great moves by him and by West Virginia for being able to make that red shirt happen. Michael in South Carolina. Hello.
Guys, this is Michael from South Carolina. Do you guys have a sense, or is there a sense on the program about whether or not Derek and Oscar are going to come back next year? Appreciate your answer, and have a good one.
All right. I'll take one of them. I think Derek's back. I'm hoping Oscar comes back. Not sure.
Be nice to get both. I'm not going to speculate. I don't have any information on that. I'm not going to speculate. It would be wonderful to get them both back. Maybe that would be pie in the sky to get both guys back, but that would be wonderful. And I think that leads to what we just talked about before, development. Isaiah Cottrell's role will be impacted by what one or both of those guys do. Both of those guys return. Isaiah Cottrell's expectations are different than if one or both happen to leave, and you need to rely on him to play more in his freshman season. So that's part of the puzzle pieces that you're putting together is what will that front line look like?
If they both come back, I think you're preseason top 10?
Yes.
Right?
I don't know how you couldn't be.
Yeah. So I don't know. The internal hope is internal, not eternal. The internal hope is, I think I said
eternal too.
Yeah. The internal hope is that obviously both of them return. I think Derek does return, and I think the plan has been that Oscar would return. But again, like we said, history says people leave, you just don't know when.
And remember, too, it's a different world, right? What's the NBA going to do? When does it restart? Pro days are getting canceled on the football side. Yeah. There are camps getting canceled on the basketball side. What are your options if you're talking just NBA? But there's also other ways, as we just talked to Nate Adrian, other ways to make money playing basketball, even if it's not the NBA, if you so choose.
But, if those guys come back, and I have no inside information either, but you would hope they come back. And if they do, and if they improve, I mean, think of if Oscar improves, what? I don't know, 35%. 35%. Then he moves up from a potential NBA guy, he's going to be an NBA guy, to a lottery pick, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Potentially.
And Derek Culver, if Derek fixes, which I'm sure he will, his free throws, just becomes a whole different animal.
Sure.
Becomes a whole different animal at that.
Both of those guys, you think NBA, it's all about what the need is, and teams always need a rebounder.
Mm-hmm.
They got guys that can shoot. Okay, guys, you need a guy who can rebound.
Well, I mean, listen, there's very few Kevin Durants, right? So the bulk of the NBA is made up of guys. They make their living off their very, very good at one niche skill.
Right.
If you have one elite niche skill put inside a body that looks like an NBA guy, which Sheboy has all of that, has the physical tools, and you're elite, and you have recounted that. Number one in the nation in offensive rebounding rate. There's an elite skill there that translates. That's what the bulk of NBA rosters are made up of. Yeah. And as you talk to NBA guys, that's what they'll tell you. That's what they try and identify. The Kevin Durants of the world jump out at you, right? The one that comes along every 3 years.
But that's the exception.
That's the exception. The bulk of those 13, 14-man rosters are made up of guys that look like Sheboy, run like Sheboy, and have an elite skill.
Our next caller is going to be ordained as the most creative caller in Three Guys Before the Game podcast history.
That's strong.
Just saying. Do you know of any other callers that took an instrument and created our own theme song?
Ooh. I'm
Ready?
intrigued. Go.
Somersville. Hello!
Hello, hello from Summersville, West Virginia. This is a guy and his wife before the game. This comment is being brought to you by my wife's pepperoni rolls. They're better than Julia's. All right, we're coming on here just to make a comment about coronavirus, and we're making a comment on that because every time we thought of a good basketball question to ask, you guys would address it really well and give really similar insight to what we were thinking. So let's talk coronavirus. Apparently, I missed out on the guaranteed cure for the virus, and that is buy up as much toilet paper as humanly possible. I missed the memo, and my wife did too, so now we can't find any. So now I don't know what we're going to do. Uh-oh, there's the music. You know what that means. Our time is up. I guess we got to go, and we'll have to report back in next time. This comment was brought to you by my electronic keyboard. It allowed me to make a cheesy imitation of your theme music. Well, we're out of here. See ya!
There you go, man.
That's pretty well done.
Huh? Hobby? I mean, that guy took some initiative, right?
He did get points for recreating the theme song rather than just putting the music on in the background.
Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah, it was well done.
Thank you.
That's what you get now with people self-quarantining.
Time, too. Right.
Yeah.
You know, I was just glancing here. We were talking about NBA rules, and I was looking at NBA stats for rebounders. DeAndre Jordan plays for the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, and he's 6'11", 265. He scores 8 points a game, averages 10 rebounds. He's a pro. So if you can get 10 rebounds a game,
he's a rich pro. Go look up his career earnings too.
So I'm saying, though, there are guys. I mean, there are guys like Gobert averages maybe 12 rebounds and 12, 15 points. Okay, but there are guys that average 8 points and 10 or 12 rebounds. Right?
Were you with me?
Who can be around for a long time?
Were you with me when we were talking to the NBA scout this season? He says if you average double figures in rebounds in college, you'll be in the NBA.
Yes.
He was the same guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we were together.
That's a transferable skill.
Yeah.
And he's not just okay. Because what do they tell you about rebounding? So much of rebounding is instinct, right? They always say the great ones have a great instinct. And Oscar not only does that, then add the athleticism of the quickness of the jumping. And so if you take those things and then say what, Tony? Well, the guy doesn't even know what he's doing yet. Right. Until he figures out what the heck he's doing.
Yep.
Added into all of that.
DeAndre Jordan makes about $20 million a year.
Per. Right? Yeah. Per.
Text line.
Good wage.
Yeah, that's good.
We asked last show for some help on content as the thing goes on here. How about doing a show on what ifs?
Ooh.
Like, what if Joe Alexander had stayed for his senior season?
Yeah, see, I like this. This is good.
What if Bill Stewart did not win the Fiesta Bowl? Does Jimbo Fisher become West Virginia's coach? And how does that look? Maybe the content of the podcast could be one show a week. You could actually do live calls as long as fans knew when you were recording. Hey, guys. Dan from Oak Hill, currently living in Winfield.
Hello!
Isn't Burdette Camping Center in Winfield, right? They're not in Fraser's Bottom or in Scott Depot. They're right in Winfield.
Correct.
Yeah. I'd like to hear each of your WVU origin stories. What was your journey and how did you end up getting affiliated with WVU? That could be a whole show. My whole deal, the person responsible for me being at West Virginia, over there, Kerchevqal.
Saw talent. I said, this kid's got it.
Let's
get him in here.
He's full of crap. Called him day after he interviewed me. He said, I'd like to accept the job. He said, I didn't offer you the job.
Sounds like something you'd say.
Didn't offer you the job. I need to get back to you. That's what he gave me.
Well, you lied to me.
Excuse me?
Lied to me.
What do you mean?
Said you were a news guy.
Well, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get the job, Hop.
Can I write news?
That's how I got here.
Yes.
How'd I do for you?
I'll tell you something. Because we'd hired you and you interviewed very well, and I was very impressed with you. But it was to do mostly news, but some sports. And you would like your first week on the job. And I remember riding down the road, and I had the radio on. You came on to do like the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock news. I thought, oh, he's pretty good. Pretty good. I said, that's good. That'll work. That'll work. I remember, honestly, you had only been here a couple of days. I thought, oh, I
remember a couple of weeks in doing news, and the phone rang. You had already left. It was in the afternoon. Phone rang. It was Mickey Faferi. He was downstairs at the Dominion Post screaming at me.
Oh, yeah?
Because I said Salem wrong.
You'll get that.
Crush me.
Said Salem wrong.
I don't know where you came from. I don't know where you're from.
Did he say that?
Yeah. Oh, you crushed me.
What are you supposed to say?
I don't know how I said it. I say Salem. I don't know what I said.
How do you mispronounce Salem?
Yeah, that's usually not one you would mess up.
He destroyed me. I love Mickey. He got to be. I mean, I loved him.
What did you say?
I forget what I said. I don't know.
I mean, Mickey Faferi called you and said you mispronounced Salem?
I know this. I knew that I knew I didn't belong in the news business when your buddy
Jim Forsythe
in Wheeling, they used to have this thing. This is all before the network where you would take the telephone and send sound bites over the telephone line. Jim Forsythe, Hoppy had left for the afternoon, and he called me up, and he was like, had drank 500 cups of coffee. He was frenetic because Tony Boyle had died. Tony Boyle Hoppy was a union.
Former head of the UMWA.
Former head of the UMWA. He goes, and he's just screaming at me, Tony Boyle's dead. Tony Boyle's dead. You got tape. You got tape. And I'm going, paralyzed me. I'm like, this isn't for me. I mean, I got to go do balls, strikes, bouncing balls. I'm out of this news thing. Guys, this is Ken from Beckley. How do you guys deal with tough losses? When I'm listening to you, Tony, on the radio, it seems like you have it all together. I'm usually on my hands and knees in the living room, my head down. It's tough to sleep that night. I don't even practice or play on the team. Any help would be appreciated. I think we talked about this a little before. I think you got to put it into perspective. It used to make me not sleep too. I think as you get older, you kind of put things into perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you're better than me. I never figured it out in my 20 years in the business.
Yeah, it makes you. Some of them still to this day, I will roll around at night after a loss, and you're semi-conscious, and you think of like, how in the hell did Kansas State just beat us? I'll have those.
Yeah.
But none. I used to be mad. Now I get disappointed.
The loss to Louisville in the Elite Eight was I think the hardest I ever took a loss ever. That was a hard recovery.
The Elite Eight game.
Yeah, because I thought Final Four, and to be honest with you, that would still it still stings. That would be soul crushing had West Virginia not gotten to a Final Four that I got to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
If I had missed out on that opportunity in my career, that would really hurt. The other one that I remember real quick, I do remember. It's probably a little more graphic than you need to be. The Kellen Winslow catch.
Oh, yeah, that hurt.
Okay. Before that happened, we go to commercial break. I was up by you, standing. We would broadcast
on
from
the
roof
of
the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
And I can remember being so nervous, right, and having no control over it. You're just sitting there watching it. So nervous for what it meant moving forward, some selfishly on what I was going to be able to do in my job, and just overall fandom. I can remember walking to the side of the roof of the Orange Bowl before the final play, leaning over. I was leaning over.
You puked?
I didn't, but I thought I was going to.
Oh, wow.
And I remember thinking, what in the hell am I doing? I'm going to go sell insurance or something. I don't need this. I was over the side, prepared to yak off the side of the Orange Bowl. Did not, but was close.
That's pretty wild.
I was on the field
True
for
story.
that. I was
True
on the
story.
field because we were headed to the locker room, and I just remember seeing Kellen Winslow's big arms go up. There's like a pack of people, and Kellen Winslow's huge arms go up and grab that ball.
Leandre Washington was near it. Scotty Jerko was near it too, right? And he just went up and brought
But
it down.
just a guy went up and made a play.
So as a way to answer that question, in my 20-some years in that business, I never figured out how to handle it well. I did not handle them well.
The Louisville loss, saying soul crushing is exactly right. You know what crushed my soul about that? We got to the locker room after the game was over, and the NCAA people were scurrying, pulling out the T-shirts and the hats that said West Virginia University West Region champions. running them out of there before the kids could see them.
That was hard. That was a really hard one.
I tell you, once when West Virginia was playing Marshall in football, and it was at Marshall, and what was the game where West Virginia was trailing, and Gino was the quarterback?
Gino.
Yeah.
And I remember being there and thinking, do not lose this game. Do not. I mean, just we didn't lose. West Virginia didn't lose, but I thought, don't do this.
Was that Darrell Jallo caught it in the back of the end zone?
Yeah, because that was all indications that was an L.
Oh, that was an L.
That's one of the more remarkable wins ever because that thing was done.
I had started to process the loss.
Yes. No doubt.
The kid fumbled.
No doubt.
Is that what happened?
The kid from Marshall fumbled, give West Virginia the ball.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I walked off the sideline.
They do.
Getting pounded from Marshall people behind me. I decided I'm out. I'm done. Walked. Exited the stadium. Out. Not going to be here for this. Out.
Text. I'm Annie in Oakmont. I'm an incoming freshman. I want to ask Tony, who has the best cannoli in Morgantown? I could be nice. Doesn't exist. There's no one that's really, truly doing great cannoli in Morgantown that I know of. If there's someone doing great cannoli in Morgantown, contact me. I don't know of any.
I'll have you send one. I can't give free plugs here for non-advertisers, but I had one that was really good.
You bring me one over, and I'll be more than happy. Nathan from Charleston, South Carolina.
Hello!
Obviously, it's a sad day that there's no March Madness, but I'm planning on watching the Kentucky Elite 8 game and the Wake Forest second-round game just to have some basketball during the tournament time. If you could choose any 3 WVU tournament games to watch, which would you pick? You just mentioned 2.
Those are 2.
I would do that one. I would do Wake Forest. I would do Kentucky. Now, if you say tournament, I would probably also go back and watch one of the Big East Championship tournament runs as well. One of those games.
Okay. I would add my third if you're talking NCAA tournament only. I think you have to add in the win over Cincinnati in Boise.
One to go back. That'd be a good one to go back and watch.
That was obviously a fun time.
The long shot?
Yeah.
The bank shot?
The Jared West shot?
Yeah. That was banked, wasn't it? Was it banked? Or did it
go?
Yeah,
banked, and then the thank God there's no technical called on my guy Jason DeLessio for running on the floor.
Okay. Always a West Virginia connection. Stan Rote from Fairmont, went to Fairmont State, was one of the officials on that game. So he might have had just a little special gold and blue in his heart there that they didn't blow that technical.
They didn't tee up on
there's
DeLessio?
No question. No question, had they called a technical, you would have gone, that's a technical foul. No question.
Because there was time left?
Yeah. Like 0.8 of a second or something. I don't even know if they did tenths of a second back then.
Now, I believe DeLessio, very high-level principal now, right? He's advancing as he would. Wonderful guy.
School principal up in the Pittsburgh area.
I hope he's listening.
I think he told me he's got four girls.
Good for him. I hope he's listening.
He's got 4 girls.
Jay, I love you, but you should have been teed, brother.
Yeah. Probably
Glad you weren't.
Yeah.
Wonder if anybody was looking at the bench. How far did he run on the court?
Mid-court. He's out there with Jared. The Mountaineers out there. Everybody's hey.
That's an automatic.
Bring it up to Hugs.
What did Hugs say?
Bring it up to Hugs. Oh, it kills him.
Had it happened in reversed, we would have lost our minds that they didn't call.
I can't believe they didn't call that.
They lost.
Worst call in history.
They lost their mind.
I would have too.
If it was us,
oh my god!
So I'm saying we would have lost our minds.
Oh, we've still been talking about it.
Correct, as we still are. But
worst
now we
moment
can
in Mountaineer history.
So I believe they didn't call the technical.
Yeah, there was enough time. Cincinnati inbounded the ball. They had the full length of the floor to go, and they inbounded it just down past midcourt. And I think Brian Lewin got his hand on it, backed it away, and that was it. All it was going to take was a touch. You touched it, the clock stopped, game was over.
I will say this: of all the screw jobs West Virginia's faced over time, that's one that the program was owed. It was owed one for all the horse crap screw jobs that have existed.
Clearly Huggins had not worked the officials effectively throughout the game to get that call.
Well, here's the deal. It also, that walk-off there, Gail Catlett, highest vertical ever by the Cat in his 22 years.
Fist pump and a high vert.
He went, he like hop-skipped. He went, I'm out.
It got off the floor.
That was awesome.
That was a fun
worst,
time.
I'll give you a worst NCAA moment. Was one of the worst. Was that Gail Catlett had that team won like 20 in a row. Had Greg Jones and those guys, and played James Madison in the first round.
See, I wasn't here then. That was 82, 83 probably. Yeah,
Lou
Campanella, coach of James Madison.
Yeah, and West Virginia was, but that was the old Atlantic 10. I guess they didn't get a lot of respect, but they won a ton of games, and they were, pretty high ranked, and went in there and got beaten in the first round by James Madison. In Greensboro, North Carolina, I was there. It was very disappointing.
I remember after that, this would probably be 84, 85. Old Dominion. Tom Young was the coach, the former Rutgers coach. That's when Holman Harley bounced the ball. Now, I'm going to tell you this now. Now, think about this, dude. First half of an NCAA tournament game. First half of an NCAA tournament game. Dude bounces the ball in the lane and goes up and tries to dunk it. I love it. Are you kidding me?
So he bounced, not off the backboard like Hargett tried that game. He bounced it, or he did go backward.
In an NCAA game?
Absolutely. Now, the only thing I'm not clear, no, absolutely, it happened.
That's a one shining moment if it goes.
I'm trying to remember if it was off the backboard or off the floor.
It was just bounce it off the floor.
I think he came down and just bounced it high up.
Power dribbled, then went up to try and cram it?
Yes.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yes. And from that, they went on a run. I'm going to look the play-by-play up. They went on a run. It was a smoke job.
Find that.
I want to say probably 85, Hoppy.
And who was it?
Old Dominion, West Virginia. And we were in North Carolina. And it was one and done. Like, that was it. You talk about the cat getting mad. You imagine? Like, you're sitting there playing the game and a dude tries to bounce it.
Do you remember? Again, I'm the old guy. I remember old stuff better than what I had for breakfast. But Brad, might have been before you, Tony. West Virginia's women's team when they had Rosemary Kostoric went on.
I was here.
And had an NCAA game at the Coliseum, and Clemson had a big lead.
Jody Runner.
West Virginia came back, won the game.
Yeah, Jody Runner hit a shot.
Coliseum was rocking.
Packed crowd that night.
Packed.
Yes, it
you
was.
were here, Brad?
No, but I know the game well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember that was an absolutely fantastic time.
Now, Hop, I do own a women's basketball national championship ring, so I've always been a big fan of the women's side of the game.
So you have the ring?
Yeah, I've got a national championship ring, name on it and everything.
Your name's on the ring.
I was an integral part of UConn winning that national championship.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I have a ring with my name on it.
You marketed for Gino Auriemma and the crew?
Yeah, Rebecca Lobo, the whole crew.
That's good.
They were very generous. They gave everybody on staff it was the first national championship for Gino. They gave everybody on staff a ring.
You let your kids play with it now?
No, it's in hiding.
They've won so many championships. Everybody's got rings now. Just give them out.
Well, now they probably don't even. I don't even know if they do national championship rings now. But back then, it was the first undefeated season. Big deal. His first historic national championship. I have a women's basketball national championship ring.
Wow. Bring it in sometime. We can see it.
All right.
Would you bring that in for us?
Sure.
1986, West Virginia played Old Dominion. 72-64, West Virginia loses the game. 72-64, West Virginia loses the game on March 13th, 1986. Holman Harley had 11 points and did play 35 minutes. So he did play 35 minutes. We'll have to get more details on that game. Look that up.
You know what? It's funny we've fallen into this reminiscing. And one of the many, many, many sadnesses, disappointments of what's happening now, and I'm just talking about sports, is you're not going to have any new memories made. Mm-hmm. And because there would be. I mean, this team something was going to happen with this team. They were going to get beaten the first round. And it was always going to be a lament, what could have been, or they were going to make a little run. And so you don't have those. And sports is so much not only about the game, but about everything that's happened before and all these memories and all these games. Everybody has these memories. It connects us all. And you're not going to have that opportunity to have those memories.
That's well said. And that's evident by what we're doing right now. Yeah. I mean, how many years are we going back here and remembering things like they happened yesterday, as I'm sure everybody is listening. When you say these moments, when you say that game in Boise, guys, you talk about that, how special that moment was. Well, if you remember, on the Friday of that, the very next day, that's when Bryce Drew from Valpo hit that shot, that game winner. That was the Friday of that same tournament that you see all the time. That's regarded as one of the great moments in March Madness history. That was in the same tournament. It was the very next day.
The other thing is that you don't, if you had ecstasy or tremendous disappointment from whatever happened, you don't feel that way today, but you remember how you felt.
Well, sure.
So that's all intertwined with who we are and our soul and our psyche. It's all woven in there.
Yeah. Okay, you guys ready for this? I'm going to close on this.
Yeah.
Here's a recap of Holman Harley's dunk attempt.
Oh my gosh, you got it?
The ill-fated dunk attempt occurred with 9:25 left in the first half and Old Dominion leading 15-14. Harley, streaking ahead of everyone, bounced the ball high off the floor, caught it with his right hand, and slammed it off the back of the rim. The ball ricocheting out almost to midcourt. It was a dunk that he had tried and made in games many times before, much to the delight of the Mountaineer fans. His razzle-dazzle passing wizardry and acrobatic dunks became a fan favorite in the mid-'80s. Harley's quoted to say, "It's so crazy because the perception is that it happened at the end of the game." Here's Coach Gail Catlett's comment. Quote, "I was shocked Harley would do that.
Shocked?
As soon as I saw it, he headed right for the bench. It was funny how he knew he was coming out of the game." The coach went on to say, "He knew that I didn't approve of showboating against the other team, but he also knew I needed him in the game, and he didn't sit very long. He was a very talented player." So he did. He played 35 minutes.
Yeah. But you have to take him. He has to go out at least for a little bit, right?
He walked straight to the bench.
That's great.
9:25.
What if he made it?
You got to stay.
You stay in if you make it?
That's a risk reward.
Oh, hell yeah, you stay in if you make it. That would have energized the whole team.
He was.
That's a risk reward, man. You could go for that. You better hammer it.
Track him down.
Who?
Howe and Harley.
He's around this area.
Is he?
Oh yeah, he's around this area. People say, yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him in the not too distant. You know who else comes around a lot? I talk to a lot.
If it gets back to him, if somebody's listening that knows him and this story gets back, we need to have him on one of our shows. I'm going to talk to him.
You know who else I talk to a lot? Petra Arsic. Petra comes around, and he's been at several games this year, so see him too. All right. As the guy from Somersville said, "Oh, the music's on. You know what that means?"
It means his wife is making pepperoni rolls.
All right. I would have to, you know what? I would have to hear. Let me just say this about the pepperoni rolls. I'm sure your wife makes great pepperoni rolls. Julia's is coming out with a new pepperoni roll. Huh? It's a par-baked pepperoni roll. Now, what that means is you thaw it, and then you bake it and cook it. They brought me one. Sweet mercy. Is it good?
Stick or slice?
Sliced.
Stick or sliced?
Sliced.
You know, when Schmidt's was open, they had a race one time, and my wife and I ran in it. And afterward, they had beer and deep-fried pepperoni rolls.
See, that's
no, that's healthy. That's good eating right there.
Yeah. That's why you just went on a run. So it's
I know. You could justify it. No problem.
Totally. Three Guys Before the Game brought to us by Comax Business Systems, your full-service Conica Minolta dealer. Visit them at comaxwv.com and get your IT properly managed. By Burdette Camping Center. Check out their Three Guys Special, the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit them at burdettecamping.com. Three Guys Before the Game is complete. We're back with you on Monday again. Let me, if you're still with us, put that number up there, Daniel, real quick. It's a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be. Where'd you first hear it? What's it mean to you? Give us a voicemail. Text 304-404-4083. 304-404-4083 for the Dean. For the Senator. We are out. Three Guys Before the Game. Episode 190 is in the book. See y'all.